Hello, everyone. Good day, good morning for some of you. A happy noon to many of you that's on the East Coast. Good afternoon, wherever you might be tuning in from. I'm Celeste, and I'm excited to be here another day and that you are joining us as well. Welcome to the 7-day Kwanzaa for Life Challenge. Yes, I'm so excited. We're on day 3, yay. And many of you are still sticking with me, and that's great. Please tell your friends and family, others that might want to chime in and get some insight on what Kwanzaa is all about. We're right in the midst of celebrating that this year, and there are principles, valuable principles that we can live by. We can understand, first of all, know how it applied, how it came to be, some history there, and then how do we use that to help us to live better going forward. That's what this challenge is all about. It really is about helping you and myself, of course, to finish 2022 strong and also to prepare and start 2023 ready with principles and guidelines and things that are going to help us to live an even better life going forward. So again, so glad that you are here, giving people just a minute or two to tune in, chime in if you will, and you're able to type in where you're listening from or watching from, and any comments that you might want to add, we certainly welcome them and we will respond. All right, we're going to jump in today. It's going to be a pretty brief day today, but I think important nonetheless. For those of you that have been with us all 3 days so far, that's great. And you should know these things. This will be a very brief review. But for those that are not familiar with day 1 and day 2, let me just simply say this. Day 1, the principle, there's different principles every day. There's 7. Day 1, the principle was umoja, which is unity. It's about coming together, putting the unity in community is one way of looking at it. And we talked about how do you go about doing that in real time? How do you build trust? How do you listen more? How do you seek to value differences and pulling any community, be it the Black community, be it your family community, or whatever community we might be talking about. The second day, the second principle was Kujujakalia, or what we call self-determination, which is really critical about really defining who you are, creating for yourself, speaking for yourself, operating from your point of view, from a community standpoint, from an African American community perspective, or from your personal perspective, instead of the influence of someone external defining and designing where you're going to go. It really is about identifying that, your voice, your identity, and operating from that standpoint as you make decisions and choices in your life going forward. It's about really making a contribution that's right in alignment with who you were designed to be. I think of it as God's assignment, and we want to be in alignment with that. So that was self-determination. Today, our principle is Ujima, which stands for collective work and responsibility. Now, I'm going to dive in a little bit more on that in just a second, but I want to remind all of us that one of the things we do during the Kwanzaa week is when people greet us, there's a certain greeting and a certain response. And I just want to start that off right now as a reminder. So the greeting is Habaragani, someone will say that. And what that means is, what's the news? And the response is whatever that principle is for that day, right? So I gave you the principle for today, which is Ujima. So you can say Ujima, or you can say collective work and responsibility. So I'm going to try it right now. I'm going to say Habaragani, and I want you to say Ujima. Okay, so let's do it. Habaragani, Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Yes, that's the ticket. So if you're out in the community or you see someone that types it to you on a message, you know what to do to answer. All right, let's jump in a little bit more and get some context on what that actually means. You know, when I thought about this particular principle, all of these principles are just wonderful to consider and really figure out how you can employ them in your life. Now, again, for a brief history, we know that originally Kwanzaa was created back in the 60s, 1966, where it was a response to the Watts riot and really trying to pull the community back together at that point. And so it was designed an Afrocentric celebration. And it's not a religious celebration, although it has spiritual overtones, but it was something that was really for that particular time period. It has expanded or extended to now, and it continues to go on. And I just believe that it is certainly vital for our community, African American community, but it's vital for any community. And so I really want you to embrace the principles as we go forward to do this. And today, especially when we think about collective work, when I thought about this particular principle, the first thing that came to my mind was a song. I love to sing. If you don't know by now, or if you know me, I love music. And so I kind of think in songs. And the song that came to me is an old song. It's been around for a while, but it's called I Need You to Survive. And it's a simple song. It was sung in the church primarily, but it's really not a gospel song. But it just says, I need you. You need me. We're all a part of God's body. Stand with me. Agree with me. We're all a part of God's body. It is His will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. Oh, you are important to me. I need you to survive. That's the first verse, but I just want to tell you the lyrics for the second because I think they're relevant as well. And it says, I pray for you. You pray for me. I love you. I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my mouth. I love you. I need you to survive. It is His will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. Isn't that a great song? It's simple, but it really, to me, is the epitome of what this principle is. It's about collective work and responsibility. It's about building and maintaining our community together and making our brothers and our sisters' problems and challenges our problems and challenges to help solve together. I need you to survive so I can survive. It is a collective work and a collective responsibility to our world so that we all can survive. The other thing that came to me, because I think very contemporary, what's going on and how do you apply this? I heard this story as a woman was telling me about this man. His name was Don, and he was a farmer, and he actually worked with other farmers, collecting with them to do a co-op so that they pooled their resources together so they could survive, because individually they weren't able to, the challenging times that they were facing, which reminded me of a drama series, Queen Sugar. Some of you may be familiar with it. Had been on TV. I think it just had its final episode. But when you think about, there was a guy in their character, Ralph Angel. He was part of the Bordelon family, and they had this farmland, and it was a struggle on the land. And what they also did, just like Don did, that the farmers came together individually. They couldn't fight off people that were trying to take over the land, but they collectively worked together and created a co-op. So they built a strength that was able to withstand the opposition. That's another example, the same thing to me. And again, we're in the holiday season right now. One of the famous classic stories is It's a Wonderful Life. And I know you all remember George Bailey, right? George Bailey in that show, if you've been around, I'm sure you've seen it. He was fighting for keeping the community bank from a bank run that was going on, and the individuals wanted to pull their money out. It's my money, it's my money. And he says, hold on, let's just work together. Let me give you exactly what you need, and let's keep the resources here so all of us can benefit from having the bank. Those are just a couple of stories, contemporary stories, maybe old stories. that exemplify this principle of collective work and responsibility. I think it's really important for us to be thinking about how we not only can help, but I think it's important for us to think about how we have already been helped. And so I want you to I'll give you a couple of assignments here today. And before I do the assignments, though, let me do the candles because we do need to light the candles every day. We have over here my version of the Kanara. The Kanara is what holds the candles. And then you have the 7 candles. And each day you light a candle that represents that represents the principle for the day. And so we start in the middle with the black candle. And the black candle again represents, say it, if you know it, type it in. It represents the people, collectively the people. That starts in the middle. And then yesterday, we went to the first red candle that really was talking about, come on, type it in. Red candle. Ooh. This is getting kind of crazy. I don't want that to fall off and cause a fire. So yes, remember what we talked about yesterday? Come on, you know that. Right. So, and today we're talking about Ujima. Cuckoo Jaka Leo was yesterday. So yesterday is this, and we're going to do the next candle today, still red. Whoops. Little problem today. So each day we light a candle again to represent what that particular principle is. So again, we are so excited. First day, we were talking about Umoja, unity. Second day, we talked about what? Kuju Jaka. I always say it's Kuju Chakalia and self-determination was second. And then today, we're talking about Ujima, collective work and responsibility. So always want to light your candles and keep them going as a reminder of what the principle is for that day. So I'm going to give you a couple of assignments. I want you to do something that can apply this principle and help you to really drive it home. I really want you to get a journal out, or you can do a piece of paper, but I love journals just to keep it together. And I want you to create a special gratitude list. The gratitude list is of all of the people you can possibly think of that has come alongside and helped you to solve problems that you ran into, challenges, could have been financial problems, relationship problems, family problems, whatever. What are some of, list the names of the people. It could have been at work, it could have been at home. Who are those people? Just start writing them down. I mean, one of the things I remember, just a flashback right this moment, really, really young, was my music teacher, Miss Clark. I remember her. I mean, some of us have a teacher. We had lots of teachers over our years, but certain teachers that stood out. Miss Clark was one of my teachers. Miss Clark was a music teacher, and she drove a Cougar car. Remember that? And she just helped me to move forward in that class and gave me a sense of confidence and ability. And she really just helped me and made an impression on me. Name those people. And I think, of course, my mom is a big one, and I write her down. And there was another lady, Miss Thomas. She was at my church, and she came alongside and helped me navigate some things with family. And who are all those people? Write them down, and it's a living document. You won't get them all done in one particular time, but write them down. And as you do, just remember how blessed you are, how many people came and actually collectively helped you learn and grow and achieve and get past issues at work or wherever it might be in the community. And then I want you to think about how often you have been blessed and ways that you can pay it forward. I'm sure there are ways you're doing it already, but think about that. And then more specifically, a further assignment would be to identify a group of people or an individual or someone in your life that you can intentionally come alongside and work with them. What gifts do you have? What skills do you have that maybe you can offer a group? I remember even with my church, right? I sing in the choir, of course, which I love, but I also, as a speaker and a trainer and doing leadership training, I was able to contribute to the leadership training at my church. because there's a committee that works on doing that. And although I did it professionally over here, I can take that and help the church be better by providing the services that I can provide. What are those? Maybe it's a matter of just deciding to offer to watch the kids of your neighbors so that they can go out and have a night, a date night or something. Whatever it might be, I want you to identify one or two or many, maybe something once a month or something once a week, whatever, however frequent you want to do it, where you can come together and share people's problems and issues and help them solve it collectively. And then the last piece I want you to be mindful of, we have a responsibility, is that word, members, collective work and responsibility, to sustain this. So how do we teach this to our kids? Teach this. If you're a leader in the workplace, one of the things your goal should be, first of all, is to help your team unite, we talk about unity, and work really well together and collectively solve the problems of the office or the business or whatever it might be. But also you want to be always building the team and developing them in such a way that they can sustain it without you being there. When I talk to my leaders and say, one of the jobs you have is to set up a situation and be such a good leader that ultimately they don't need you there. Now, some people get a little nervous about that, but that's what good leadership is. You build successors, you build people that can do the work without you, and that frees you up to do other things. So when you talk about this principle, collective work and responsibility, contribute, make a difference, be grateful for what people have done for you, and then see how you can offer some level of sustainability for responsibility going forward. Those are my thoughts about today. I know, again, the whole idea of Kwanzaa was African American centered. It was the Black community pulling them together. And that's really important. We do need to be collectively working together more than ever. And I know sometimes, and this is maybe controversial, this statement I'm about to make, but it's true. And that is, our communities sometimes do not work together as well as some other ethnic minorities or groups that come together a little bit more consistently. So we must do that. We must decide to take that up a notch and definitely do that, but not at the exclusion of including others that we have to work with as well, because we live in a very diverse world. All right, that's my story for today. I'm going to stop now because I'm trying to be very mindful. Keep it around 15 minutes. I hope you enjoyed this. Please listen. If you didn't listen to day 1 and day 2, go back and do that. And we have another day tomorrow. Tomorrow's really exciting. Oh my gosh, I have something to introduce to you tomorrow, which I think you're going to love. And I certainly would appreciate your feedback on that. So stay tuned for tomorrow. Meanwhile, Habaragani, the answer is Ujima. Ujima. Bye for now. Take care. Have a fantastic Wednesday. Bye-bye.